Hi everyone, welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Mina, Crichton, and today's date's 21st of July 2025. Okay, so I'm going to just start with the usual. I start with a introduction. I'll try and keep it short, and then I'm just going to carry on what's actually on my heart for this video clip. It's in the moment evidence, and it's going to be about the car crash in the case to do with New Zealand Police and IPCA. I am also going to be using these evidence also for court. The case is a global public game. A public. Well, they've made my life into a game, but the case itself has gone public for a long time. So I'm just going to update you guys of where I'm at the moment because I need the public support. So I'll just start with it. Okay, guys, so it's definitely a human trafficking in persons case. The evidence is so intimate as, there's just, without a shadow of doubt, it's not hard to prove in the legal system that I'm a victim of a trafficking ring, and there are a lot of sequences and incidents involving myself and different things that have taken place, which is true. So we're dealing with an historical trafficking ring involving an individual, which is myself at this point in time. However, the people that would be made criminally liable in this case would be the body corporates and any other individuals that may get caught for participating in organised crimes. So I'll just continue with what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to currently update you guys as usual, like I said I would, with my current court case. The next one pending is against the independent police conduct, as I've already gone over the evidence to do with New Zealand Police. Nothing as that has changed other than I'm contesting it. It is unlawful strikes. And so I'm still doing what I'm doing. The councils, they've changed the councils, and I've had to go public because the opposing allies are using their occupation by inciting. This explains the sabotaging. This explains the home invasion as far as my personal space is concerned, and glued to the opposing allies who are actually using me for relationship scams and games globally, which is illegal. Without my consent or without any party's consent, it's illegal. Quite obviously, I've been used for a relationship scam, so I've been using Henry Cavill and I's relationship. Okay, so nothing has changed, guys. He's very private. I'm very private. As you can tell, I haven't really said very much about what he's up to and some of the deep things he's gone through, other than when he did have an operation. All that is true and can be used in the criminal court law in support of his case and my case. So for those that don't know, whatever you say orally or in writing, that all can be used against you or for you in a criminal case. However, I do know what I'm talking about. I'm not breaking any laws because of my case. I'm the victim of crimes, and I have actually found laws to support that no one can actually press criminal charges on me because it's a real life criminal case, and because I am the victim of crimes. However, the evidence must be accurate, and what I say must be true, and that if I was found out to be lying, I could probably get into trouble for that. But I can assure you, I don't make it a habit to lie about anything, or especially anything important to do with somebody's liberty. In this case, it's my liberty, and also Henry Cavill's liberty and reputation. But he's doing really well. He supports anything I do at this point in time. I'm the voice for us until he is actually ready to speak to the public. Just at this stage, this is how it is for now. So I'm just going to update you because everything to do with me and the relationship does link to my court cases historically. Okay, this part here is just this moment. this incident between Henry and I is nothing new as far as what I have been used for historically for relationship scams, and that is actually easy to prove now. Okay, so historically people have actually used me and then abandoned me. Okay, so people have actually contaminated my private space while I was working for my employer. You know, it's called breaches. I knew at that point in time while I was working for my employer something was radically wrong. I knew I was being stalked, followed, and glued to whoever was monitoring and surveillancing me at work. And then, you know, consistently while I was going home. At the beginning of this, I was just a single young mum with 3 children, with single parent. So this is actually my journey and what I was going through alone. But I know that people have actually used me and then abandoned me or just leave me with whatever situation I was currently at that time. I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't do anything about it. So now I've been able to collate all the evidence and I can now actually prove everything in the court of law. Okay, guys, so we're dealing with organised criminal group syndicates. It's not just internally in New Zealand, it's global. Okay, so they've actually used me like a product, or they've used me for relationship scams to promote other people. It's called animation or animate, but the modern name for it is substitute. They are using their cards, they are colour coding, and the gluing and the stalking is so intimate. It's illegal. But if I can prove that in the court of law, whoever's behind the thieving, the stealing, and you name it, it's 10 years imprisonment plus. Okay, so historically I can also prove that they've damaged my personal property, which is my profile. They've erased things as things happen. They've erased evidence, deleted evidence, there's a good chance that they can even delete your existence, which is not good. But it shouldn't be happening. But I have been consistent with my profile and my court cases, so now I've got a win-win case, and so I'm just going to carry on with the evidence. Okay, so legally by law, the jurisdiction for my case is in the criminal, not civil. At this point in time, I do have stuff pending for the criminal jurisdiction, but at the moment I've got matters in the civil at this point in time. Okay, this new age system, they've glued me, they've animated, or in animate it's called, to the actual substitute. So they've made me the crazy one. This is consistent with the lies, the defamation, the rejection, the sabotage, the intimate interference, and everything else. Okay, so it's called Jack the Ripper. If you guys know anything about Jack the Ripper, who was a serial killer, I have a reason of belief, I strongly believe that I'm subject to a system involving Jack the Ripper of serial murderers, glued. It's a game, it's a sport of secret society secretly breaking the law by misuse of devices, inciting and coding globally. Okay, guys, so this is exactly what is happening. Okay, they're glued to the originals, and they're secretly listening, they're secretly spying, they're secretly doing everything, breaking every law under the sun, and then they're switching. And the old system used to call indictable offences, but they've changed the system to actually allow these kind of things to happen on innocent civilians. So it's actually even worse now than ever before. Very dangerous. Okay, so if you are have no awareness of if you are unaware of, like, for a good example is like, stranger danger, like you don't know whether a person is telling you the truth or is an imposter. Today, anybody can be talking to an imposter and they can easily steal anything from you. They can steal your anything. I'm not joking. Basically anything, just by deception and lying and misuse of devices. Okay guys, so I'm going to be talking about my court case. I'm going to try and keep this video short because I just want to get to the point. That's what I've got. My heart is quite, I need to kind of like go over the laws too. But I have exhausted the criminal case, my case in the civil. It's been started from 4th of July 2016, so I have exhausted the system. Okay, but today we're dealing with the New Zealand police case in IPCA. For those that don't know, the IPCA is about the highest you can go to take your complaints. Unfortunately, my case is a very serious, gross malfunction of the system. A lot of it I didn't understand until time revealed itself of what's actually behind the system and how it actually works. But it is definitely a secret society of stealing from innocent civilians, stealing their property, basically anything, and I'm just a survivor of it. So at the moment I'm dealing with the New Zealand police case and IPCA. Okay, so for those that are new on board, and just a reminder that New Zealand police has already been dealt with in the courts, but it is unlawful strikes and I am contesting it. But today I wanted just to go over the evidence because the new, what do you call it? They've changed the Council for Independent Police Self-Conduct. So if you watched the other video clip, I'll actually try and put the links on this video clip so everyone can just go and just watch it themselves. But I will be using all these video clips as part of my court case. It's very likely it might go to trial, it might not go to trial, but we'll just go with it. However, it shouldn't even be in the civil jurisdiction. It is a very serious category for a criminal case. So Independent Police Code of Conduct has one chance to make a decision whether they want to settle this, when the judge can make a decision to make an order in my favour because they don't have any evidence in support of them wanting to strike out my claim, because they become unlawful strike without any evidence, especially if everything I say is true and correct and everything that in my personal property there's supporting evidence of it, and there is. Unfortunately, it becomes perjury. When some of these people commit crimes within the government, it becomes perjury and automatically. But unfortunately, I didn't realize this until much later, but they were actually anything I did, it goes straight to the government. And then I realized that they were actually inciting about me, and I just thought, hey, that's not fair. So I started opposing, because to me, in my mind, they are breaking the law. They're inciting, they're using relationship scams, they're coding, and it's a global game. That is an unfair game. And they're talking about me, and then they're using relationship scams to try and win and cheat. And so that's why I've decided to go public, so everyone else can get some kind of an understanding and have a chance to protect their own property, protect their own family, and protect themselves. Okay, first of all, I'm going to just refresh everybody's memory from my videos. Okay, the evidence doesn't change. Okay, it becomes concrete evidence, and once something happens, it happens. Just a matter of the those that investigate to actually dig up and find the evidence. for it. Okay, so I did put in a protected disclosure in 2010, and all these documents were in the protected disclosure. And so at this point in time, we've dealt with the New Zealand police, but now we're dealing with IPCA case. Okay, so that goes before the judges. So those that don't know the system, IPCA, it goes before a judge, and then the judge is the one who's responsible to give direction whether to investigate whether there's any serious wrongdoing. In my case, this is where the protected disclosure comes in. Whatever happened back in 2010, why they didn't do their job, that has got nothing to do with me other than they have let me down. Okay, so they have let me down. So all these here are actually an exhibit. This is a response from the commissioner. The other problem I'm having is they're in my space deleting my evidence, so that's even more serious for me. So I'm just going to go over. So all these are actually exhibits, and I just thought I'd go over it quickly just to refresh everybody's memory. But Judge Sussex should have had all this. There's no reason why for her to actually write unlawful strikes, because that, that's just not good. But all these here is from the New Zealand police evidence. I actually did win my case in there, okay? In fact, the Crown had no evidence whatsoever. And they didn't do, I don't know, it was just very embarrassing. So this here is the evidence. Here it is. On the 6th of May, this guy here, Steve Shortland, he was the assistant commissioner, okay? He responded to the protected disclosure, and then he CC'd his superintendent, Bill Cyril, District Commander, Waitemā, okay? So this here is dated on, this is the first correspondent I had with the police. I also wanted to make it clear that whatever the evidence that the police got, the Ministry of Justice got the same evidence and documentation, and so did Public Service Association. So we've got like a total of 6 body corporates involved in my case. Okay, but this guy, he left suddenly. Okay. When he left suddenly, I rang the office and I had a conversation with this lady here, Sarah Fox, to find out, because I was shocked that they didn't do anything about it. She said to me over the phone, if I can recall rightly, that he'd actually left his job suddenly. Like he left his job, but it was like quite suddenly, and he CC'd, his superintendent. To sort of like take over. Okay, then his superintendent responded. Okay, this is his respond. Okay, unfortunately, I believe that it's organised crime. Okay, I try not to get upset because it's still very traumatizing for me. I thought I'd get used to it after doing these court cases for like nearly 9 years, over 9 years almost, and I still struggle with it, still quite traumatizing for me. But I'm not the type of person to cry wolf. I'm not the type of person to play games, and I know what I'm saying is very serious. But he did respond on the 10th of May, and so this is what he declined it. I also had a driver's license, so it's acknowledged in his letter that about the driver's license and the car crash. And he wanted me to, give him proof that it was set up. And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, isn't that what your job is, to find out? 'Cause I knew it was a setup. I'd swear on the Bible it was a setup. How do I know it was a setup? It was because what the guy said to me at the crime scene. Okay, so I've already got video clips on this guy. His name is Jesse Stevenson. He was gang affiliated, and I'd already confirmed his identity with the police. And on this letter, he's also confirmed and acknowledged about the protected disclosure, and he also declined that. So I sent him another letter because I wasn't happy that they declined my application, and then he responded again. This here was all said in the New Zealand police hearing. Okay, so I recommend the Crown to actually go get, I've already asked the courts to release the transcript of that hearing for if they change the judge, then the judge needs to hear it. And the Crown needs to hear it too, because they are new on board. The other Crown obviously withdrew because they knew that they had lost and have no case. So this guy, he responded again to my second letter, and he's acknowledged the protected disclosure application and also the car crash. Okay, there's actually 3 separate issues in my case. There is the 2 protected disclosure, one for the Church of Christ, and then the protected disclosure against my employer, which is the Ministry of Justice. And then there was the car crash, and I was saying the evidence I'd submitted was sufficient to prove that it was cybercrime. Okay, I was being cybercrimed, stalked, you name it, and it was all in documentations. There was enough evidence in the workplace bullying and discrimination. There was sufficient evidence to actually indicate that I was being discriminated in the office, because I was being harassed, followed. I was being glued. I don't know what they want to call it, but it was very serious. So at the court hearing on the 30th of October 2020, I'm trying to think the year, I think it was 2024, I had the hearing with Judge Sussex, and the Crown was, just trying to think of her name, I think it was Kyla Grant, and so I did win the case. But all these things here I've shown you, there are actually exhibits. As you can see down here, they're already exhibits. Okay. But I also told the judge at that hearing that I did ring this guy up from my home phone, and I was shocked that they declined it once again. For those that don't know, my background, my first experience with the courts is working for jury trials depositions, and I worked with cases to do with murder cases, serious fraud cases, sexual violation cases, you name it, I've done it. And so I just knew my case was very serious. I was petrified. I was scared as hell, and I actually thought I wasn't going to make it, because I knew to pervert the course of justice is a very serious criminal offence. And I also knew that the system was corrupt. And so, I was scared as hell at this point of time. But, so I did ring this guy up, and I was, being persistent with him. I said to him, you said something along the lines of, if I can remember rightly what I said, I said something along the lines of, you have to investigate. Don't you know what a protected disclosure is? Because, it's not my job to tell them what it is. I think I expected them to know because of who they were. And then I said, how about the car accident? But they declined everything. So they just left me in limbo, and nothing stopped. But I knew I was being personally targeted. I knew that the government system was corrupt, And yeah, I was scared of hell. And this is 2010. So I made the decision in 2010 to split my family up because I was a single parent with young children, and I had to protect their safety. They didn't know that. My kids went through their own personal trauma because of my decision, but this is the real reason why. Keeping in mind, in my statement of claim, I've even put in there that I got poisoned at work by the flu injection. Nothing of that has changed. Okay, so this is what happened in 2010. On one of my video clips, I put that all hell broke loose. That's exactly how I felt as the victim in this matter. Okay, so this is another female I was talking to, right? I can't even believe they did. I'm still shocked that they did what they did. I did confide to a judge while I was working with the courts of what was going on. And even though he was really shocked, because they know that I would, like, when you work with people like I do, we just don't lie to each other. We do not make it a habit to even joke or, things like this is like, that is so serious. But I did tell somebody that about this car accident. And I was a court deputy registrar at that point of time. But I didn't know what to do at that time except, just stay... just be careful where I went, stay public, and and just stay alive was what I had to do. So basically I can prove in my court case historically that the mastermind of what I've gone through has already made this decision to use me like a product or use me for a pecuniary advantage. Historically, and that all that is actually evidence on documentation, and I'm going to show you that soon. Okay, so this here, I rang this lady up, Liz Hay. She's confirmed that I spoke to her because I rang her up and I asked her about Steve Cole. Oh, what's his name? Let's just go back. Steve Shortland it was. And I also remember that I had made the allegation, and I also told this to the judge in court at the hearing, that he knew Heather Hughes. Okay? He knew her personally. Because, when I say personally, I mean personally. And I believe he left his job suddenly because her name was on one of the letters for the protected disclosure, and I have those letters exhibited. Okay? I can prove that in the court of law. Okay? There's a lot more around that story I haven't even disclosed, but that is evidence. It's a very serious one. So here was also an exhibit of the guy. His name is Jesse Stevenson. He was a guy that I believe, because I still believe to this day, that car accident was a hit. Okay, and it was a hit to maim me. That is my allegation, and this is what I believe what happened. I did have another car accident not long before this, and I knew it was a setup. I just knew. But it was just one of those things, how can you prove it? But this is the second car accident I had. I knew it was intentional and it was a setup. And the police let him go. They didn't do anything about it. Okay, he should have been charged with careless driving causing injury. And I think that's about 7 years imprisonment. But they let him go. And I was able to prove at the hearing with the New Zealand Police before Judge Sussex that New Zealand Police, they basically perverted the course of justice and lied to court. That's just how it that's how the evidence showed. They lied to me and they lied to the courts. They said that they didn't know anything about it, blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying they didn't. They didn't want to do it. Why? Because the system was corrupt. I don't care their reasons, but the evidence clearly shows that it was corrupt. What they did to me was wrong. So I did identify this guy, but the car accident, I believe, was a hit. He had a girlfriend at that time. He was about 24 years old. The thing that's very concerning about organised crime and when the system is corrupt is that people use innocent civilians to commit crimes and then they murder them. Okay? This is why I have to do what I'm doing, even just to warn the public, for innocent civilians, don't get involved in anything. If someone comes and tells you to do something, don't do it. Because, behind organised crimes, corrupt people. And, we've got a lot of people pretending and being an imposter these days, pretending to be someone they're not. And even in saying that, sometimes, people, just because somebody looks okay and it's got all the right things, the right paperwork, it doesn't mean that they're honest. They've got an honest heart or whatever, okay? Basically, it's just making the right decision at that point of time. So that guy wrote it on his own handwriting. The police lied to me at that point of time. They said that I'd given them the wrong information. They said that they couldn't find him. They said I'd given the wrong detail. Even though I'd gone into the police station, I identified the guy as a European Caucasian, 24 years old at that point of time. And he was gang affiliated, okay? And I could just tell from the police officer who served me at the Henderson police station that she was concerned. Like, she had that frown on her face, and then I just knew I was in trouble. And then she told me, and that was the end of that. Why they didn't do anything about it, I have no idea. All right, but that was enough to tell me I had to be extra careful. I knew I was in trouble. And it just got worse when they didn't do anything about it. And then I followed up with the police for the next couple of years. But I just knew they had no intention of pressing criminal charges or doing anything about it. Okay, so from that car accident, I ended up getting a very serious neck injury. I went and got an MRI scan, but here's another reason why I believe the car accident was intentional. I reckon that they were after my organs at that point in time. I don't know, I just had that feeling something was very wrong about why he did that, and then the system didn't work for me. So there were a lot of reasons why they could have done that to me as a targeted person, probably for organ harvesting and obviously money laundering purposes, which is what I can actually prove now. But at this car accident, I had to go to doctors. It ended up going for an MRI scan, and I got a cervical spine injury. Okay, that's pretty serious. Because I knew that car accident was serious, was intentional. It was a setup. I believe the guy was paid to maim me, even the way the accident happened. He didn't even have a driver's license on him. His car was deregistered. There was sufficient evidence there for the police to, get a warrant and go and arrest him, but they let him go. Okay. Now my other suspicion is. This here is actually the medical evidence from my doctor that I went to at that point of time. It's not my family GP. I was referred to an MRI scan to them in Green Lane Hospital. Okay, so I reckon all that was intentional to make me go for an MRI scan. Why do I say that? It's because of everything else that's happened. in between, the way I was treated invisible. I just felt like I was being trafficked, and that is the case. Okay. The other thing you can also, that is consistent with the public inciting and coding of me, I can actually interpret what they're actually doing because it's about me, and because I know everything about me because it's me, and I'm talking about my personal property and everything. But things like this word here, they've got, I don't know if that is a normal doctor's language to use, okay, for medical whatever, but they've got Echo's name here. Okay, this is in 2010, guys. This report took place. Okay, so her name has been used a lot. But this is what I'm talking about, they're doing projects on humans. I call it pet projects. And then the abuse is consistent with the public and the organised crime and the inhumane assault and battery in between, psychological and mental abuse. So this here is a police report. Not a police report. It's actually the medical certificate or report from the specialist radiology, because I had an MRI scan, and this is the doctor at that time was Mr. Craig Finch in Green Lane. So I don't know if these reports are still with them, because like I said, they're deleting things. They're committing the crime and then they're deleting it. Okay, so I can actually say today that my neck has never been the same. I was actually advised by the doctor that because I've had 2 car accidents involving a whiplash, that I may need an operation because one of my discs were sprained, and and it's true. I believe what he told me is true, because my neck has not been the same. I'm very sensitive to pain, and I'm very sensitive at micromanaging my own body, my own self, because I know myself, because I micromanage my own life, my own health. That's just how I've been independently. So he did say to me that I will put this report in. There is part of the report in the exhibits, but this here is kind of like more of detail of what I've gone. I'm not really a complainer, but when I complain about something, it's real, it's legit. So my neck has never been the same. So they've maimed me. That is my allegations against the police and what's happened to me. But the guy said to me, the doctor said that I may need an operation to actually fix the disc. That car accident was intentional. The day was a beautiful day. It was sunny. I just stopped at a red light, and he hit me from the back real hard. It did dent my boot. It made the boot dent, so he would have been speeding a good speed to be able to make up the dent that he did on my car and his car at that time. So that was what happened from the car accident, and I felt that that guy should be done for, but they let the guy go. So everything was intentional. And I was doing unison dance crew at this point of time, so I believe I was used for money laundering. That's what the evidence shows. But what I found is that they are deleting stuff, and they're not allowed to. But I've also found that whoever's micromanaging me are actually in my space stealing stuff. So when I turn around, my things go missing, or they're stealing. They're stealing because they know that they're going to continue on doing what they're doing until until I'm dead. Okay, that's what the evidence shows. But I will put all this I ended up going on ACC for a couple of months, but my neck is still not 100%. In fact, I'm very sensitive to it, and there are other times when I put my hands in different position, I can feel the sharp pain down my spine. Not only that, the people that are actually doing the organised crime are actually micromanaging. They're mocking me in the moment when I go to work, public or whatever. To kind of like make out that I'm a cripple, blah blah blah, whatever. But I'm not. I'm fine. It's just that I just know I just got to be careful. But that tells me that the people behind what I've gone through, or the mastermind, the syndicate behind what I've gone through, still exists. Okay, and they are linked to gangs, and they are linked to people in government. Okay, so I went on ACC for this. The other thing I have found is that people have used me for tax evasion, or using me to apply for things because they know I'm intelligent, and then they're actually stealing my information. So part of this report is in there, and I'll put all this in there in this one too. And the Crown has actually, okay, the next one is, just one moment, the new Crown has put in, I said that in the last video clip, they put in a statement of defence. Okay. Keeping in mind, guys, this is in civil. It shouldn't even be in civil. So I'll just go slowly so everyone can read it. Probably get some people pretty angry. Anyway, they've actually denied some allegations on the statement of claim, but they've also admitted some. Okay, but I'm saying what he's denying. There are some, yes, they can deny, but there are some that I'm saying they got. What I'm saying is that they got the same material as Ministry of Justice, and Public Service Association. Okay, the people I believe is liable are the CEOs at this point of time. It's rewinding back because it's a historical case involving one person. For example, if I got murdered, all those laws, because of what I've done, because I've been consistent in my court cases, all those laws that I used at that point of time all become active. So they did get that. They left me in there. I just can't believe it. They did nothing about it. They all left me in there. So everything was intentional. So this is their council's other second application. I haven't responded to it because the judge has given me some time. We've got a schedule. I'll just go slow so you can all just stop and read it yourself. All right. To be quite honest, it's really embarrassing what they're doing. I can tell the experience of a person just from reading their documents to the courts, but it's not a civil matter. Okay, they've also charged me for their documents. That is what all the other councils have done. The Crown, they've charged me they've made me pay them, which I think is a joke. It's a joke. And because of what they're submitting, some of the things they're submitting, I'll just go over the law for that. Just one moment. Okay, so that guy should be done for, just give me a sec. they're actually stealing from me. Okay, so is these people in Google or like the internet, someone behind the scene is actually stealing too. They're stealing, they're hacking, and I know that I'm getting proxy hacked, but I don't know who these people are. I've had reason to believe some of them have been gangs. But I don't know. The government just needs to update their stuff as far as the internet and the Wi-Fi, because they are stealing. The sabotage, everything is intentional. Just give me a second. Just trying to. All right. Okay, so the New Zealand police, as far as I'm concerned, what they did to me, they were still obligated to me as a citizen of New Zealand, regardless whether I'm an immigrant, regardless of my nationality, regardless of my background, whether I'm rich or poor or whatever. They were obligated to investigate on my part according to the law. The fact of the matter is they've got no evidence to support them that they didn't fail me, other than me being able to prove that they've actually broken very serious criminal laws like impeding rescue. Okay, so that is 10 years imprisonment. They've had and not only that, they've damaged my property. They've damaged my personal profile. So if every other corporate body has deleted my personal profile, anything that is mine, they can all be made liable. So it's like a rape case. If someone gets raped, it doesn't matter how old the rape took place, that person can still be made accountable, because that's it's a category 4 case, and that will never change. Even if the person is dead and these things took place, all these things can still be made accountable and be brought forward. Okay, so I also believe these people are like accessing my laptop or accessing anything about me. Flippin' heck. They're still breaking the law. That is 2 years imprisonment, so it's intentional accesses directly or indirectly. Okay, so the car accident was definitely a wounding with intent. See, and this is where I get my allegations, where I can say that that guy, the accident, I believe it was a hit. Somebody paid him to do it. And if, for the police not to investigate or arrest a guy, it tells me somebody internal either knows him, he's probably related to somebody involved in the money laundering or stealing from me. Just because somebody works for the government, it doesn't mean that they've got, everyone's got some family in there that may be linked, because everyone's got a life. But the fact that the police didn't investigate, they let the guy go, and left me to live in limbo. They've actually made me live in limbo for a very long time, and they've also made me a danger to other people in the fact that other people don't know that I'm in danger, even though I knew I was in danger. And it's like my words against theirs, but that's why I believe they used the Mental Health Act on me, so nobody would believe me, and this is like a cover-up. Okay, so wounding with intent is what that guy did, and that's 14 years imprisonment. And as far as I was concerned, as far as looking at it from an expert point of view, if it wasn't about me and is about somebody else, it would look like that the victim was wounded intentionally and maimed, and they did that. I believe they maimed me. It was a second car accident they had. That's my allegation of what that guy did. But the police let him go, and I can prove that they let him go, because I rang them heaps of times from different places, and they lied to me. Okay, so it's injuring with intent. That guy should have been arrested immediately. All right. So all those laws come into place. I've actually sued independent. I've sued every single body corporate at the highest rate, where for crimes like what they've done to me in one person, $10 million per body corporate. And that's, I've already shown that is what I've sued them legally in court. unless we settle in other ways and we agree. But at this point in time, it doesn't matter how my court case goes. The thing is, they have to compensate me as the victim in this case. But what I also have found is that people have used me and they've stolen tax. They've used my name and they've stolen funding money, and that's very likely. This is why I'm denouncing Natalie Vasquiso and her imposter boyfriend, because both him and I are in a very duress set of circumstances at this moment, and I can't really I'm not ready to disclose anything to do with where he is at the moment, other than that he is safe and he's not happy with what he's going through. He's much better in a better space now, but he's not interacting with anyone public. He's not interacting. Even his family doesn't really know. He's such a private person. I've only had to do this to save both of our lives, and also because of my court case. But for those that from my criminal field, we can understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I have a reason to believe this is why they pinned me down, going back to 2010. And then they stole Unison Dance Crew. You stole my identity, pinned me down, and whoever's behind the thieving, are living off. They'd have to pin me down to be able to get away with it, because that's money laundering. And thanks to Natalie and her imposter alliance, that is a matter of fact that can be proven now. Okay, so New Zealand Police and IPCA have also defeated the course of justice. That's 7 years imprisonment. Okay, that's a very serious malfunction of the system. To be totally honest, I'm still just overwhelmed at the reality of what they did to me, and the fact that they made me live in limbo for so long. Okay, guys, so unfortunately, my case, definitely the unlawful strikes written by the judges. Okay, it's perjury, it's false statement, it's not true, and just writing a judgment using your authority and just using words and then getting the public to vote. But you're still writing fraudulent stuff about somebody, that becomes judiciary corruption, unfortunately. Okay, so it's a miscarriage of justice. So those that don't know what miscarriage of justice is, it's perjury. It's when the system is corrupt. It's cases like mine. That is what you call miscarriage of justice, is because the system's corrupt, and I'm the victim to it, and they are stealing off me, and I can prove it. So that's what happens. It's so sensitive. Okay, I know I'm old school, but when we're dealing with the integrity of the government and the courts and public welfare, that's why a breach is a serious thing. It shouldn't even be a joke. It's a breach ends up going into internal corruption, and innocent civilians get caught up in it. But yeah, so all the unlawful strikes comes under false statements and declarations, even the submissions made by the councils. Unfortunately, they're false statements. So yeah. And the evidence is also fabricated evidence. It's not true, and it's misleading any tribunal and judiciary. They know that too. They know that they've done wrong. They know, how strict it is if you are, somebody working in public office, how strict it is. An old school judge will not find anything funny. Yeah. Okay then. I'll end it at that for now. Okay, so I've just showed you guys the incident as far as my neck injury is concerned. So I'm just going with it, and hopefully we'll get an end result soon. Even though it's in the civil jurisdiction, if for some reason I don't make it, I guarantee you, I promise you, a criminal barrister will take over my case and prosecute every single body corporate involving me, because it's not a joke. Okay, it is historical organised crimes, it is cyber attacks, and it is bullying. And there is no limitation laws involving a case like mine. Okay, it doesn't come into place. It just doesn't.